everybody, this is the Resource Girl, and it's the almost live streaming. Not quite live streaming. So tonight I wanted to start by sharing a little GoPro kind of tips. I learned last night I was trying to upload 3 videos at once, and that pretty much took the whole night. So if you're new to the GoPro world, I think it's best to upload 1 video at a time. And as you upload 1 video at a time, you'll notice that you have time to do other things. Maybe you have time to do some research about where you were, if you want to put them in the comments below. But you're definitely going to have some time if your video is, pretty long. Even like 12 minutes of video with the GoPro. Wow, it's taken my computer about like an hour and a half or something. I don't know if that's normal because I really haven't asked anyone who's actually doing the same thing. I am in a chat group, and so I could ask them, And speaking of that, I haven't asked them yet, but I have no idea if the other walkers and talkers out there, if they like having a shout out or not. So I'm going to be asking them today if they are happy if I say, hey, a couple of people have really inspired me and I want to give them a shout out. But I don't know, I would think they would want me to, but since I really don't know them personally, I thought I would ask them first. So today I am actually using the harness. I have the GoPro on the harness, and I am taking a walk up Broadway. You can see the main part of Times Square down there. It is a little chilly, and it's slightly raining. I have an umbrella, which I'm not sure if you're going to catch that in the shot. That's a little bit of a nuance when you have the wide angle lens. Oftentimes you get things in your shot that maybe you didn't want to. Like when I adjust the screen just to make sure that it's still recording, you'll often see my fingers. Sorry about that. So I'm letting everyone know that I am using the harness, and I will be taking out the selfie stick soon. I don't have the official gimbal, but I do have a selfie stick that I'd like to use so that I can introduce myself when there's a particularly beautiful background. I'd love to say hello with that in the background. Tonight, I'm not gonna lie, it is chilly, and I'm walking up Broadway. And just to let you know this kind of seems not profound if you don't live in New York, but of course Broadway is all dark. There aren't any shows. And up here on the left, I'll be walking past the Stephen Colbert show. And a little tidbit about that, before Stephen Colbert was very big, there was a guy that I knew named Mark Malkoff. And Mark is a comedian, and he's a content creator, and he's created a lot of different podcasts and YouTube channels. He basically took his love of having fun and put it into everything that he does. He did something where he lived in Walmart for a little while. And then he created the Johnny Carson podcast. And for any of you that don't know who Johnny Carson is, he was, the predecessor of people like Stephen Colbert, right? So they had Ed Sullivan, and then Johnny Carson, and then on down the line. So here we are with Stephen Colbert for The Late Show. As far as I know, they're still producing that show right here. But what I will say about that is that I got rid of cable TV between 7 and 8 years ago. So I haven't been watching those late night programs. Sometimes I will go to YouTube and I will watch it on YouTube, but I have to say that, let me just tell you the first reason that I cut off cable television was an economic one, because it was easy to cut the cord and use that money for something else. And then also, I'm not against television. I'm not against Netflix or Hulu or any of those other things. I think that movies and TV provide a lot of relaxing entertainment, or information. I love a good documentary. But I think that the whole thing of surviving in New York City really led me pre-COVID times. Oh wow, look at that beautiful car. Oh my goodness, that is gorgeous. Pre-COVID time, I was working like 31 days a month, and I had a roommate, and there's an expression in New York that the rent is too darn high. Now, it's another word, but I don't use profanity, so you won't hear me say that, but you know what that word is, that the rent is too bleep high. Well, that's the truth. So I was working a lot, and there just really wasn't a lot of room for watching TV. Now, if you asked me, do I miss the television? I will tell you that I really miss the late shows. I really found, believe it or not, that I could really know what was going on in the world within an hour of whatever they were talking about. Because whether they made fun of something or they were being serious, not usually, I always learned something about current events in a funny way. And so I do miss the late shows, because it kind of just lets you know what's happening, like with celebrities, or if there's a war or something like that. I mean, I'm kind of laughing because I do think it's important to watch the news, but these days I think we can't watch the news too much, as we're all finding that there's really a repetitive nature to what's being said on TV. And I think that that the seriousness of this pandemic is real. But I also believe that with any crisis, whether a personal crisis or a global crisis, that if we only focus on crisis, then we're really missing the fact that we're all still alive, and we all still have the opportunity to choose a path that is healthy for ourselves. And I personally think that watching too much of the news these days isn't really good for our health. And every day that I wake up, I try to make sure that I put something in my life that is healthy, whether it's drinking more water, whether it's taking my supplements, whether it's taking a really long walk with or without my friend the GoPro. But I am committed to doing what I can to deal in the space of prevention. And it's not always easy, particularly under high stress times when, who wants a big thing of broccoli, or do you want a big donut? I mean, that's a serious question. How do you deal with your stress? With a big plate of broccoli? I mean, raw broccoli, live broccoli? Or do you deal with it with like 2 or 3 donuts? I mean, which one do we prefer? So all I'm saying is that I really do miss the late night shows. I miss those talk show hosts. I really loved Conan O'Brien, and the beautiful thing is that I had the opportunity to meet him. I was walking on the Upper West Side several years ago when he and Jay Leno were sort of having, not a fight, but the networks were trying to decide who stays, Jay Leno or Conan O'Brien. And there's a bit of confusion there for the watchers, for the people watching. And I think there was a bit of confusion for the actual people that were involved with that issue, right? And, you know, these people, I mean, Jay Leno and Conan O'Brien, you know, they're in the big leagues. They've got lawyers, they've got accountants, they've got people, they've got publicists, they've got managers, and on one hand, monetarily, you know, they're able to protect themselves in many forms based on the team that they have around them. But I truly believe that even if you're in the big league, you have a heart, you have emotions, you have concerns, feelings, you know. And when Conan was going to be chosen to replace Jay Leno, and then they kind of changed their minds, and then Conan was set aside, it was, for me, I was really sad because I like both of them, but I thought, well, you know, Conan, it's his moment. So on the Upper West Side, one night I was walking, it was very quiet, and there was nobody around. But one thing I can tell you is that Conan O'Brien is at least like 6'4" to 6'7" feet tall, you know, 6'4" or 6'7". And so you don't miss him, and then with his mop of red hair, you're certainly not going to miss him. So I just said, hey, how's it going?